Part 31. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 302. Chapter 302, Grandma said, "Practice for me." He knew that whether it was his wife or his parents, they all knew that he had been lying to them. Suddenly, I could no longer bear the grievance in my heart. Xiao burst into tears. He threw himself into his wife's arms. "Madam, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." He really didn't mean to lie to them, because he didn't want to go back. He didn't want to go back, because that home was no longer his home after the woman came in. "Madam knows, just cry, just cry." Grandma. He patted Xiao on the back and asked him to vent. Mei Shui and Hians were a little confused, but seeing Xiao like this, they must have had a hard life. "I don't know how long I cried." Xiao stopped crying with the comfort of his wife. "Dad, Mom, Madam, I'm sorry for you, I lied to you, my name is Chen Yu, it's true, I also have a dad, a grandpa, and my mom died not long after giving birth to me." Xiao told all about his life experience. His mother died when he was very young, and his father remarried when he was 3 years old. His stepmother was very bad to him, but she was very kind to him in front of his grandfather. He was hurt this time because of her. She sold herself to a trafficker and let the trafficker sell him far away. Xiao was 6 years old at the time. He was sensible and knew what his stepmother meant. He had resisted and run away. But he would be caught every time, and they would beat him every time he ran away. Finally, seeing how disobedient he was, they planned to break his hands and feet and let him go begging. On the way from Kyoto to Nan province, Xiao didn't know how many times he was beaten. "I don't know how long it's been since I've eaten, and I don't know how I survived." On the way to Guangzhou, he ran away again, but this time he fell directly from the top of the mountain because his hands and feet were not connected properly. Later he met his father. After hearing what he said, Grandma, he was very angry. "Huh, yes. A stepmother who dares to do this to someone's first wife's child is really not a human being. If I let my mother see it, she will definitely beat her conscience to bleed." Grandma, he was very angry. Mei Shui and Hians glanced at each other. They all saw anger in each other's eyes. "Madam, we of you, Grandpa is not in good health. He himself said that he won't live long. Dad doesn't care about me. They have a new brother. Madam, don't let me go." Xiao cried very sadly. His cries also disturbed people watching TV in the main room. But when they saw adults around, the children didn't dare to come over. At this point, Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng ran over. "Brother, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying?" They were very worried when they saw their brother crying in his wife's arms. Mei Shui pulled the two of them over and said, "Brother is fine. He was bullied." "No, my wife is going to vent her anger on him." She comforted the two of them. "You guys go watch TV first, and tomorrow you will fight back with your brother, the person who bullied him," Mei Shui said with a smile. "Well, I'm very strong. If you don't cry, brother, I'll help you vent your anger tomorrow." Xiao Cheng stretched out his hands and gestured. "Xiao Peng is not lagging behind, I can beat Uncle Xiao Ei as well." "Brother, don't cry. I will ask Uncle Xiao Ei to bring someone with him to help you regain your position tomorrow." Hearing what the two said, Mei Shui couldn't laugh or cry. "Okay, let's go watch TV first, otherwise people will be embarrassed to watch it in our house." She pointed to the people in the room and said, "Then let them go, I want to accompany my brother." Xiao Cheng glanced at them and said with an unhappy look on his face. "The same goes for Xiao Peng, that's right, Dad, please let them go home." Listening to what the two said, everyone was dumbfounded. "This is not good. Go quickly. My brother is fine. He will come and watch TV with you in a while." Xiao wiped his tears and said to his brothers with a smile. Really, the two of them didn't believe it. Certainly. After receiving their brother's assurance, the two of them walked into the main room, turning their heads step by step. Okay, we know this. Since you have decided for yourself, let's change the name tomorrow. Oh, the people in Kyoto are amazing, there is a big family. Hyans is now more and more confident. Well, my name will be Hishiu from now on, Xiao said happily. No problem, that's a good name. From now on, you can call him Hishiu. Go ahead and watch TV with your brother and the others. Don't let them wait too long, Grandma. He patted Xiao's back. We have everything exist. From what she heard, Grandma he identified Xiao. Mei Shui has no objection. Go. Hyans wouldn't say anything more. No one knew the scene better than him. That stepmother is really not a human being. More hateful than human traffickers. Go, Dad will take you to the village chief grandpa tomorrow morning. After getting the adults' approval, Xiao left with a smile and went to watch TV with his brothers. After Xiao left, Grandma he sighed. Xiao's words are inseparable from his grandfather. I think he still misses him a lot. Mei Shui understands. Then ask the old man and the others tomorrow. He knew what Grandma was worried about. Forget it, but who knew? Grandma he shook her head. I can't take care of my own son, so what if I lose a grandson, huh? Hyans has no say, he is just a tool. Tomorrow, Ans, you will take Xiao to register for residence tomorrow, and then he will come to our house. From now on, he will be the eldest son and grandson of our He family. How could such a good child have such a miserable life? No wonder Xiaoxiu is so attached to her after she gets home. I understand, Grandma. Hyans had no objection. Xiaoxiu, what about you? Do you have any ideas? Hyans asked. Mei Shui shook her head. No objection, we'll talk about the future later. However, Xiao can start practicing martial arts, and he's almost done with those basic skills. There is nothing better than getting slapped in the face. Hyans understood instantly. I know, there are exactly 2 exercises suitable for him, Hyans said with a smile. Grandma he knew what they meant. Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng will also start practicing for me. If they encounter human traffickers, I will beat them to death. Grandma he was angry. Grandma, don't worry. They are still young. It will take another 1 or 2 years to lay the foundation. Xiaoxiu and I have already made arrangements. If Xiao hadn't been in poor health, he would have been able to practice a long time ago. That's it, you just have to be aware of it. Also, Xiao can't fall behind in his studies. Starting from tomorrow, let him learn his skills from old man Wu. Grandma he decided with one word that Xiao would have a painful learning career in the future. You can have this, but throw away all 3. Hyans had no objection. Well, they can live with the old masters. Mei Shui had no objection. She was also very busy recently. The 3 little guys didn't know that they had been arranged. They were watching TV and laughing so happily. I still need to ask for votes for this. Why don't people vote? Is it because the author did something wrong? Woohoo, please vote. Recommendation tickets, monthly passes, rewards, and subscriptions are all requested. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 303. Chapter 303, Shall we celebrate the new year together? That night, Hyans was so unbridled that he and his lover stayed up all night. Mei Shui couldn't get up early, and Hyans was woken up by his grandma as soon as he fell asleep. After yelling, Hyans was scolded, but Hyans didn't dare to fart. In the end, it was Xiao who rescued him because they were going to change their household registration. After Xiao's affairs were done, he, Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng were packed up by Grandma he and thrown to the old man and the others. In this regard, the 3 of them expressed their happiness at first. Little did they know that this was the beginning of their painful learning life. This year, Hyan's footsteps are getting bigger and bigger, and Mei Shui is also completing her farm step by step. Heian village has also become a famous vegetable base in Chengxin town because of the plum snow. Both the county and the province are listed. The village chief's status has also risen, but he knows how he achieved his achievements. Many restaurant owners also wanted to come to Hejiakan to buy food, but unfortunately, they arrived late. Qianziang also spent a lot of money and directly controlled 3/5 of the vegetables and poultry in Hejiakan. The Gu family took away the remaining fifth and a half. There is still a little bit left in the hands of Boss Mi. It's not that the people in the village have never thought of selling vegetables to others at high prices, but the He family has made a statement that if anyone upsets the balance, they will no longer sell vegetables to them in the future. For this reason, no one dares to break it. Qianziang was also very grateful. Under the plan of the village chief and Mei Shui, the village invited several neighboring villages to come over to plant rice together. For this reason, Qianziang's ambitions are getting bigger and bigger. Mei Shui also wanted money to satisfy his ambition. Make vegetable base and breeding bigger and bigger. With Xiaobai's help, we also raised real pheasants in the back mountain. Also made the Intercontinental Hotel the Intercontinental Hotel. I don't know about other places, but here in Mingcheng, the Intercontinental Hotel is the first hotel, which includes food, accommodation, and transportation. The food and accommodation is provided by Qianziang himself, and the business is provided by Heian's franchise. At the end of the year, the villas on the mountainside that the old men have been waiting for a long time have also been renovated and can be moved in. The water is mainly water from the same mountains and hot springs. It is no worse than life in big cities. The old men all moved into their new homes one by one, and the people accompanying them finally settled down. Everyone has his relatives at home, as well as some people who are waiting on him. Mei Shui didn't pay any attention to this matter. Anyway, it was enough to pay Grandma on time every year. Mr. Mu and Grandma Mu also officially became members of Hejia village. Mr. Mu also became the village doctor in the village. The He family courtyard is becoming more and more lively. Anwen and Anshan also withdrew their winery business and officially entered Kyoto. But they have no intention of giving up here in their hometown. For example, in Anshan's family, He Zhengting took Enting back to the village after Enting recovered and Anshan was leaving for Kyoto. Anshan also had some money, so he directly asked Mr. Zhang to build a brick house. Not only him, but also Anwen and An Liang. They are all cultivated in the same way. The reason is that Mr. Zhang is lazy. 4 two-story villas stand around a Hejia wooden building, becoming a scene in Hejia village. There are also a lot of renovated houses in the village, but because of money, everyone has not built villas, but they have regarded building a 2-story building as their goal. He Anwei has been following Mei Shui since he handed over to He Angui. Mei Shui also assigned him all the work. If he made a mistake, it would be okay as long as he corrected it. In this regard, Xiao Yi's growth has been noticed by everyone, who wouldn't envy him. One of the most ridiculous things this year was that He and I went back to her parents' home to show off. However, the person she wanted to show off to most was Mei Shui. Unfortunately, they ignored her and didn't even look at her. She hid in the back hill all day long. This made He and I angry for several days. Of course, in order to satisfy her desire to show off, Grandma He scolded her as she wished and sent her back to her husband's house. And the eldest grandma once again lost an adult in front of Grandma He. Lixia revived the business of the garment factory because of Mei Shui's drawings. Ma Liming also gradually managed his small home better and better because of the furniture. Even so, they did not leave Hejia village because his wife was still raising pigs in the village. When he had no work, he also raised pigs at home. The price of pigs is getting higher and higher day by day. No, the two of them also plan to buy a piece of land in the village and build their own house. They cannot live in their parents' house forever. Even if Anwen and Li Shuang have no objection, they themselves will be embarrassed. This year, everyone's life is getting better and better. The new year of 1990 has arrived. This is a happy year. Third grandma, let's celebrate the new year together this year. And when and the others are going to Kyoto after celebrating the new year, so they want to celebrate the new year together this year. Grandma he knew what they meant, and responded with a smile, yes, as long as you don't celebrate the new year at my house with so many people. Her house is a bit small. Then let's go to my house. Our 3 yards happen to be connected together, Anwen said, pointing to his yard. Okay, there just happen to be a lot of people, so let's all have fun together. Perhaps because her wish came true, Grandma he is becoming more talkative now. Okay, then I, Anshan and Anliang will prepare the New Year's Eve dinner. After receiving the affirmative answer, Anwen smiled happily. Go, go, let Cheng drive slower, Grandma he ordered. That's right, Cheng was driving, and Jinan was a very thoughtful person. When he asked Ans where he could find cheap tractors for sale, he spent a lot of money to buy a car. Disc tractors are very useful in rural areas. Whether it is loading goods or pulling people, it can be loaded with one vehicle. I know, his skills are good, and Wen responded with a smile. Huh, let him be careful. He will take the college entrance examination next year. If he doesn't get into college, his mother will beat him to death, Grandma he said with a serious face. Of course Anwen understood, that's right, I wrote it down. After Anwen got the letter, he immediately went to inform others. Knowing that everyone is celebrating the new year together this year, everyone in the family is excited. Mei Shui was being dragged by Ans to chat with the old men in the back hill. Little did she know that her grandma had agreed to celebrate the new year with Anwen and the others. He thought Grandma didn't like too many people. He was also thinking about whether the old man and the others should go back together to celebrate the new year this year. Mei Shui had her own little correspondent, Xiaobai, who stayed with the old lady at home. After hearing the letter, she immediately informed her master. Mei Shui is happy. Old man, will we all celebrate the new year together this year? Mei Shui asked. When the old men heard what Mei Shui said, they all stared at her. Does your grandma know? They thought about celebrating the new year together, but the eldest sister had already said that she didn't like too many people. I still need to ask for votes for this. Why don't people vote? Is it because the author did something wrong? Woohoo, please vote. Recommendation tickets, monthly passes, rewards, and subscriptions are all requested. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 304. Chapter 304, Each Family's Plan 1. Hearing Uncle Shi ask, Mei Shui smiled happily, of course, but this year we won't celebrate the new year at my house. It was organized by Anwen, Anshan, and Anliang. Seeing that the old men were a little disappointed, Mei Shui added, I think they will come and invite you to join them soon. She believed that Anwen and the others were good at carrying things. As expected, the old men became happy after hearing what Mei Shui said. Haha, that's a good feeling. We also thought that if we all celebrate the new year at our own homes this year, it would be too deserted. That's right, it would be fun if we all celebrate the new year together. Even Mr. Hua, who was the least talkative, started shouting. That's it, we'll wait for you at home. After making arrangements for the new year, Mei Shui and Ans took the children back home. The 3 children are playing like crazy now. They have been playing like crazy every day. It has only been one morning, and all 3 of their clothes are dirty. On the way home, Ans was a little confused. How do you know about Anwen's New Year's Eve dinner before they come here? He was a little confused about this. Meixiu looked at him. I want to say that Xiaobai told me. Do you believe it? He also knew about Xiaobai, and she didn't want to hide it from him. Xiaobai is not here, how can it tell you? Hians was speechless, as his wife was treating her like her own child. Well, Mei Shui can't say that Xiaobai has a contract with her, right? My guess is that Wen and the others will go to Kyoto after the new year. They will definitely ask for food this year. I think they won't forget the old men, you know, it was the old men who helped them open the way in Kyoto. Hian still believed in this result. You are naughty. After saying that, he scratched Mei Shui's nose with his other free hand. Like a child. The weather is getting colder and colder. If grandma didn't agree, they would all want to live here. Unfortunately, as the Chinese New Year is getting closer, grandma refuses to come, saying that there is too much excitement in the village. As Mei Shui said, early the next morning, Wen and the three of them went to the back mountain to invite the old men to celebrate the new year together. Of course the old men are happy. But their family members are a little embarrassed. In any case, they are not familiar with the people in these villages. Even if they are members of the He family, they cannot speak a few words a day. Dad, do we really want to go? Mr. Sun's son also brought his wife, sons, and daughters over to accompany him during the Chinese New Year this year. Mr. Sun was drinking tea there seriously. Go, of course you have to go. It would be a lively event for the villagers to celebrate the new year together, but you have never experienced it at this point. The old man became arrogant. Dad, if you want to go, do you have enough at home to give gifts? Sun's Haiming is the old man's son. He is an official and pays great attention to this aspect. His daughter-in-law also had a look of doubt on her face. Their family cannot compare with other families because of the conditions at home. Seeing the worries on the faces of his son and daughter-in-law, the old man kindly told them about the simplicity of the villagers. Don't worry, you guys have bought a lot of food. When the time comes, the whole family will prepare a red envelope and everything will be settled. The old man certainly knows how to give gifts. But have you prepared all the New Year's gifts for Auntie He's family? He had prepared this separately. Upon hearing Aunt He, Sun's Haiming and his wife looked at each other and smiled. Dad, don't worry, Aunt He's New Year's gift is ready. The same thing happened not only to the Sun family, but also to Mr. Wu. His family had a simple population, and only his wife came here alone. Old man, you are very comfortable here. She didn't expect that during the Chinese New Year, people from the village would invite people to join them for New Year's Eve dinner, and she became jealous. Mr. Wu knew that he had suffered a loss from his wife in the past 2 years. I won't let you come here. From now on, we will take care of ourselves here and don't bother with matters in Kyoto. The children are all grown up. The son, daughter-in-law, and grandson cannot come, and they have to go back to their parents' home. Mr. Wu also knows this, so it would be easier if he didn't come. Humph, you have a conscience. Don't tell me, she really likes life here. By the way, how did you arrange the gift giving? She had just arrived, and she didn't know much about many things. Mr. Wu shook his head and said, just arrange the gifts for the eldest sister, and bring some specialties from Kyoto for the other families, plus a red envelope. He believed that his wife had her own opinion regarding the size of the red envelope. That's it, the gifts from the eldest sister's house have been prepared a long time ago. You can go over and give the gifts tomorrow. Speaking of this eldest sister, Zheng Xiu still liked her very much. She is cheerful and cheerful, unlike those women in Kyoto, whose minds are smaller than the eye of a needle. Mr. Hua's only ones who came to his home were his wife and grandson. His son, daughter-in-law couldn't come back because they were too busy. Honey, you heard me too, just watch and prepare for the New Year's gift. The old man has been a hands-off shopkeeper for too long and is used to arranging everything with his wife. Mr. Hua's wife is 65 years old. During that special period, she suffered some hardships and then died. After giving birth to her son, she had nothing to do. Fortunately, I have Mei Shui's pills, otherwise she might not be here in the past 2 years. For this reason, she pays more attention to this New Year's gift than anyone else. Don't worry, I've made all the arrangements. Tongfang bought a lot of things. We'll take some with us when we go to dinner and add a red envelope, so it's a complete gift. Lin Qiang is born in a family, otherwise she would not have survived so much despite suffering so much back then. But I have suffered a lot. Of course I can rest assured because of your arrangement. My wife, let me tell you something. What do you think of letting Tongfang find a wife in the village? I think the girls in the village are very good. At least he saw that everyone was first-class capable. Lin Qiang rolled her eyes at her wife and said, "You, don't worry about the child. He has his own plans. Besides, Tongfang's heart is not in this relationship. Didn't you hurt this girl? To be honest, she doesn't want her grandson to marry a girl from the village. It's not that the girl in the village is not good, but because she is too different from the other party and she is afraid that they will not be able to make a long-term career." The old man was just jealous, so he said, "Humph, he is just a piece of wood." As if thinking of something, he looked at the sky outside and asked, "Is the Yu family's situation okay now?" Lin Qiang was stunned. "It's not bad, the Yu family still suffered a lot of blows in this incident, but it was finally saved. Yujia was their previous stronghold, and never mind. The Zhao family is even more lively, and the whole family is back. Even the eldest son who was in the army rushed back. Dad, how will we give An and his family their New Year's gift tomorrow?" Uncle Zhao asked his father with a smile on his face. "Since my father arrived here, his health has been getting better day by day. If he goes to the hospital for a checkup now, he will definitely be healthier than normal people." "You don't have any idea in mind," Mr. Zhao glared at him. "Then what's the use of you?" End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 305. Chapter 305, Each Family's Plan Too. Not to mention, after a group of old men have been together for a long time, everyone's temperament has changed. Mr. Zhao's temperament has changed the most. Uncle Zhao looked at his father, confused. "Dad, you..." Before he could finish what he said, his wife stopped him and said, "Dad, don't worry, we have prepared the New Year's gifts for Aunt He's family. We will go over to deliver the New Year's gifts for Aunt He's family tomorrow." Qian Wenai knew his father-in-law's temper. If he really let his man say those words in his mouth, I'm afraid. "Don't think about celebrating the New Year." Qian Xiang and his two brothers lowered their heads, and their daughter-in-law took their children and left the hall directly. Uncle Zhao, who was already 53 this year, turned red at the movement below. "Dad, give me some face." In the end, he could only beg for mercy. "Humph, put away the fertilizer in your mind. I am your father. Why, do you still want to recognize me?" Mr. Zhao was angry. Zhao Kaiji and Qian Xiang stood up immediately and came to the old man's side. "Grandpa, Dad doesn't mean that. It's not because you are in good health and he is too happy." "That's right, Grandpa, you see, Qiao and sister-in-law are too embarrassed to go out. Qian Xiang is a naughty person." When the old man saw this, he was amused. He pointed at Zhao Aijun and cursed, "You are not even smarter than the children." Uncle Zhao didn't dare to say anything more. "Yes, Dad, it's all my fault." "Forget it, as long as the old man is happy." The old man is now in his 70s and needs to be coaxed. "Dad, don't be the same as him." "Should we go over to Aunt He's house tomorrow?" She was more concerned about giving New Year's gifts tomorrow. Mr. Zhao shook his head. "No, she will dislike us. Let's do this. Tomorrow you and your granddaughter-in-law will go there with the children and go right after breakfast. Don't have lunch there. She thinks it's troublesome. Not to mention, several old men are very considerate of Grandma He. If my children and grandchildren didn't know that they were all innocent, I would really think that my old man might have had second thoughts." "Grandpa, can't I go too? I still want to go for a walk in the village tomorrow." Qian Xiang looked unhappy. "You, You want to go to the village, do you need me to ask the old man? If he doesn't go, the villagers will come running. Get out of here early, and don't let anyone come over and disturb me, the old man cursed angrily. Qianziang was happy when he heard that he could go out for a walk. Haha, okay, no one will come over and disturb you. Of course he wanted to go for a walk in the village. He is going to make big moves next year. The Shi family's side is similar, except that Shi Weiken is the only one who comes to celebrate the new year with Mr. Shi. His son and daughter-in-law didn't have time to come back, but he didn't complain, so he felt a little disappointed yesterday, but it's different now. Everyone celebrates the new year together, no matter how big or small the crowd is, it's very lively anyway. Weiken, tomorrow you go to your Grandma He's house to deliver New Year's gifts. Remember to bring all the things I prepared, the old man told his grandson. Shi Weiken knew that his grandfather was not in a good mood these days. Well, Grandpa, would you like to go out with me for a walk? He didn't want the old man to stay at home alone. I won't go. I had a good rest yesterday, and I have to do a big job the day after tomorrow. Is the old man feeling disappointed? Depressed? Not happy at all. He knows a few of his friends better. They will definitely not go out tomorrow and will definitely have a good rest at home, so he will not go out either. Okay, but Grandpa, you'd better drink less wine, Shi Weiken said worriedly. It's okay, old man, I'm in good health. Having said this, the old man stared at Shi Weiken. Has that prescription been produced? Shi Weiken nodded. It's done, but the medicinal materials can't keep up, so the effect is not as good as the ones my sister-in-law brought out. Even though he was prepared, the result still made him a little disappointed. The old man nodded. Of course, you don't even think about how many years of savings my family has spent on that medicinal material. Do you think every household can get it? Okay, as long as it still has an effect, I'm not afraid. Even if it's slow in taking effect, as long as it's useful, it's fine. Shi Weiken is not the kind of person who worries about gains and losses. I know, Grandpa. It's good to know in the future, we will still have to rely on him to make historians more prosperous. What are your plans after the incident in Kyoto is over? It's time to start making arrangements. Of course Shi Weiken had his own plans. Grandpa, I want to join the army like my dad. This was something he had planned for a long time. This can be seen from the Kyoto incident. If you want to save for your own family, you must have less money and power. Now he has a hand in the prescription. After he joins the army, he will not narrow his path. Seeing that he had a plan, the old man was very pleased. It's good that you can figure it out, but you still have to graduate from college. From now on, it's not the time to use the knife to attack Mukang. Well, I know, I can go back to school next year to get my diploma, and then I can enlist in the army. He wanted to go up step by step, rather than climbing higher because of family members. Okay, I'm ambitious, but I have to find someone who trusts me to take care of the prescription. I can't leave it all to the Zhao family and the Hua family. It's not that he is careless, but he has to be on guard. It was okay when the older generation was around, but if they are gone, I'm afraid. I understand. I have already asked my cousin to come in. My cousin studies medicine. He is more knowledgeable in medicine than Tong Fang. The historian is not just a branch of the old man. Is it Dewa? The old man didn't expect that Wei Chen would have such a good relationship with Dewa's people. That's right. Speaking of his cousin, Shi Weiken also felt a little embarrassed. What happened back then has passed, and he believed that his grandfather had not always hated his family. Weiken, Dewa is really a good kid, but you have to know what kind of character your uncle's family is. If it weren't for his own relatives, he would have found someone to take care of him long ago. Shi Weiken understood. Don't worry, Grandpa, my cousin's family has been separated a long time ago, and now the second uncle's family lives in the Demon Province. Grandpa's family is also annoying. Mr. Shi didn't want to ask any more questions. Let Dewa come over when you have time. He had to take a look. He hadn't seen anyone in many years, and he didn't know how it had changed now. Well, my cousin has wanted to come see you for a long time, but he didn't dare. After saying that, Shiwaiken laughed. Huh, just like his father, he can't stand up. The old man was also angry when he talked about this family. Grandpa, don't talk about this anymore. You can teach your cousin a lesson when he comes. He is not a cousin and cannot be lectured. The 5 families were almost prepared, and since there were all juniors present, the old men went to their own backyards as soon as they finished giving instructions. The younger members of the family also began to move around. After learning that everyone's arrangements were similar, they all laughed at the Kenyans. How much is the red envelope? 10 yuan for seeing a child. It's not too much, but it's not too little either. It's just a thought. Sure, I think it's good. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 306. Chapter 306, gone in the blink of an eye. So, excluding Xiao and his 3 brothers, Yu's children all only had 10 yuan each. As for Grandma she started getting ready in the morning, and Mei Shui was also very busy. Just enjoy it. Don't block me. Mei Shui pushed away the person standing in front of her. If you have nothing to do, go and clean up the old house. Even if no one lives in it now, it still needs to be cleaned. Hians felt aggrieved and said, Daughter-in-law, I'm here to bring you some water. You drink some warm water first before doing anything else. Didn't he feel sorry for her? Why are you being disliked? Meixia glanced at him, thinking about what happened last night. Forget it, give it to me. She stretched out her hand. Hians was immediately comforted and said, Here. Today is the 28th day of the new year, and every household is cleaning their homes. Mei Shui and Grandma have to clean out the things used for the new year, so Mei Shui and Grandma are a little busy. After finishing the drink, Mei Shui glanced outside and said, Send some water to Grandma. Grandma has not rested since morning. I know, I gave it to Grandma a long time ago. A family, neat and tidy. At noon, Mei Shui made some noodles casually, even though it was already past noon. The dinner was cooked by Hians. It tasted so good. Mei Shui's food was pretty sweet. I'm full. Grandma dropped the bowl and chopsticks for the first time, and then glanced at Ans. Don't cook anymore, it's a waste. After saying that, Grandma walked out. Xiao, Xiaopeng, and Xiaocheng were similar. They could eat 2 bowls of rice on weekdays, but they ate 1 bowl tonight, and then followed their wife's footsteps out of the kitchen. Hians looked aggrieved and asked, Daughter-in-law, is it so delicious? He knew that what he made was definitely not as good as his wife and Grandma's. It's not that bad after all. Meixia raised her head and glanced at him. It's okay. She was really hungry, and she didn't like to waste food. So, Hians was comforted and started eating immediately. Xiaoxiu, you can eat this. Xiaoxiu, this is delicious. Xiaoxiu, please eat some eggs. The next day, the 29th day of the 12th lunar month, all 5 old men's families came together to give New Year gifts. Grandma took over the whole process, and Mei Shui acted like a robot, pouring water for them. Grandma finally stayed with them for lunch, but unfortunately no one stayed, saying that there were still people at home who needed to eat, and they couldn't leave without them. Grandma didn't force them to stay, she just let them go back and told them to come early tomorrow. As juniors, it was their first time to celebrate the new year in the village, so they didn't understand the rules, but they were very obedient. After returning home one by one, they were all stunned when they saw the disappointed eyes of the old man at home. Why don't you guys stay for lunch, sister? If you did, they could go there and have a good time. Those who came back were speechless. Old man, didn't you tell us not to disturb Auntie? It's hard to be a daughter-in-law. Forget it, forget it. I wonder if he was just being polite. This thing happens in every old man's house. On New Year's Eve, every family gets up early in the morning to worship their ancestors. Eat breakfast. Before noon, guests or people visiting every house came. Everyone in the village knows that this year, several families on the mountainside will celebrate the new year together. There are also two families, Heejinnan and Heejinbei. This makes many people envious. They wanted to go up there and have a look, but unfortunately, they were celebrating the new year and didn't want to get into trouble. The name of third and he is still there. Qianziang had already pulled Hians and asked him to accompany him for a walk in the village, and Hians couldn't refuse. The Spring Festival of 1990 was a great reunion year. The conditions in Hejia village have improved. That night, every household set off fireworks and firecrackers, and the village was bustling with excitement. Even the children's voices were noisy until 11 or 12 in the middle of the night. We welcome the new year and bid farewell to the old. We all welcome the year 1990. This year was also the year the Kyoto incident ended. Even so, several old men are used to living here, and since they have abdicated, none of them are willing to go back. On the contrary, Meixiu once again attracted many guests. As for Mei Shui, because Hians went to Mingcheng, she had to make a trip to Mingcheng, changed schools for Xiao, and even bought a large building in Mingcheng. Meixiu originally wanted to buy a yard, but there were very few yards here in Mingcheng. Even if there were any, they were far away from Xiao's school. As a last resort, she had no choice but to buy a building. But she didn't want a building like the one in the county town, so in the end, with Qianziang's help, she bought a small Western-style building not far from Xiao's school. I heard that this family is going abroad and their house is for sale. Mei Shui has no interest in going abroad. But the house is pretty good and I'm very satisfied with it. Transfer the transfer of ownership and give money, and then help Xiao get into school. Because Hians was getting busier and busier, he had to give Xiao a hard time and had to let him apply for residence on campus. Even so, Mei Shui was still a little worried. She only felt relieved after seeing it in person. Xiao, if your father is not at home during your next vacation, you can go to Uncle Qian's place. Mom will buy you a house and prepare food and clothing for you. Mei Shui finally wanted to take care of Xiao. But her grandmother at home made her even more worried. Mom, I know. If Dad is not at home, I will go to Uncle Qian's house. Xiao knew that his parents were busy, and there was a younger brother and grandma at home, so it was impossible for his mother to come over. Dad has to earn money to support the family, so he can only be independent. Well, Xiao is so good, but it won't take more than 2 years, then your mother will come to accompany you to school, and your wife will have to come if she doesn't come. She understood what the old lady was thinking. But in 2 years, Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng will go to school, and she will have to take care of the 3 of them. Xiao is very well behaved and filial. If the wife doesn't want to come out, forget it, Mom. He knows what kind of life his wife leads at home, and I'm afraid it will be very uncomfortable for her to come to the city. Mei Shui was very happy that Xiao was so considerate. Don't worry, your mother will accompany you to junior high school when you graduate from elementary school. Then, like Uncle An Cheng and Uncle Liang, you will be admitted to your ideal university. That's right, An Cheng has also gone to college and is now in Kyoto. The 3 of them happen to be managing the new winery together. Okay, I will definitely get into the ideal university, but Mom, I want to be a soldier. Xiao had his own thoughts in his mind. Mei Shui smiled and said, it's okay. You can do whatever you want, as long as you are willing. Of course, we are good people. Mei Shui's education has always been simple. We do not hurt others, but we must not be lenient to those who hurt us. Mom, I understand, I will practice martial arts well. Xiao is now starting to practice the moves. These are martial arts tailored by Hians for him. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 307. Chapter 307, Busy Hedgiakin. Sure, but don't let your mind wander. Remember, you must have energy before you can be powerful, Mei Shui said with a smile. Because the campus is in residence, new students have to come early before September 1st. Tomorrow is September 1st, the first day of school, and Xiao's first day living on campus. It has been 10 days since she arrived in Mingcheng. Mei Shui is also thinking about home, but she can't let go of Xiao. No, when she went back in the evening, Mei Shui discussed with Hians, do you think it is really good for Xiao to live on campus? After being a mother for a long time, her heart has become softer. Hians hugged the person in his arms tightly. Don't worry, Xiao can do it. He is stronger than we thought. In 2 years, he won't have to live on campus. Hians also knew that he had wronged Xiao in the past few years. Well, I'm not afraid that he will think too much about it, but at home Mei Shui felt really uncomfortable. Don't worry, Xiao won't think so. Hians also knew that he was wrong. When the business here goes smoothly, I will ask the old man to recruit people. When the time comes, I will take care of Xiao myself. Mei Shui sighed, that's all it can do. Since he had to send Xiao to school tomorrow, Hians didn't bother Mei Shui too many times. After the two were deeply satisfied, they hugged each other and fell asleep. As for Xiao, he is really as Hians thought, he is not that weak. Just wait 2 more years, it will be much better than when he was a child. A night without dreams until dawn. Xiao, come here for dinner. We'll go to school after dinner. Mei Shui got up early and made breakfast for the father and son, and waited for them to come over for dinner after they had finished training. Mom, I'm here. After breakfast, Mei Shui and Hian sent Xiao to school together. After saying hello to the teacher, the two left the school. Xiao felt a little disappointed in his heart. Fortunately, the teacher was responsible and comforted Xiu, asking him to calm down and take the class seriously. Xiaoxiu, are you leaving today? Xiao went to school, and Xiaoxiu was going back to his hometown again. Hians was very reluctant to leave. Yes, Grandma and Xiaopeng are the only ones at home, so I'm not worried, Mei Shui replied while packing her things. Hians knew that she was reluctant to leave her grandma, but he was also very reluctant to let her go. Can't you stay for 2 more days? Meixiu looked at him and said firmly, no. Hians took a deep breath and suppressed his reluctance. Okay, I'll take you to the station in a minute. The departure of his wife made Hians return to work. Mei Shui, who returned to the village, was called by the village chief again. Just because Hejia village became famous, many village chiefs from the surrounding areas asked to visit him. Mei Shui can't control it too much, she has a headache. Haven't the arrangements for growing vegetables and raising poultry been arranged? They can imitate the same if they want. Mei Shui couldn't figure out who was the village chief. Why do you come to ask her anything? Uncle Village Chief, you have to remember that you are the village chief, and I am just a villager. Meixiu has no way to deal with the village chief uncle. The village chief is also aggrieved. Okay. Is there any way to do this? Who gave you the ability? If you are willing, it's okay for the village chief to let you do it. He really thought about this problem. It's a pity that others look down upon him. Come on, Grandma. He listened and rolled her eyes. You can stop making trouble for my Xiaoxiu. In another 2 years, Xiaopeng and the others will go to school, and she will have no time. As soon as Xiaoxiu came back, she complained to her about Xiao's hardships at school alone. It made her feel so sad that she wanted to die. After seeing off the village chief uncle, Mei Shui finally felt relaxed. Grandma, I'm so tired. Mei Shui felt more tired than ever these days. If you are tired, go and take a nap. Xiaopeng and the others are behaving well. I will take them for a walk in the back mountains later. Forget it, she couldn't sleep. I haven't even finished planting the trees Grandpa Hua sent me. That's right, in March, Mr. Hua sent people to deliver peach trees, and they are all planted now. But then the grape tree was brought, which was in trouble and had to be beaten. Had I known this, Mei Shui would not listen to Xiao Bai's words. Wouldn't it be better to plant something else? You are really causing trouble for yourself. Why are you planting so many fruit trees? It's hard to sell them. Why not plant tangerine trees? Now the food factory in the town directly harvests them, Grandma, he said with an unhappy look. Meixiu also regretted it. I've sown everything, what else can I do? There is another mountain. What kind of trees are you going to plant? I don't know why I'm planting so many trees. I don't know, let's talk about it later. It is impossible to plant all 3 mountains this year. It's up to you, let's take a nap first, and then we'll talk about it when we get up. Seeing Xiaoxiu's face looking a little pale, Grandma said worriedly. Meixiu thought for a while and said, okay, let's go to sleep. That's right, let's go to sleep first. The village chief was also surrounded by several familiar people. He, village chief, just tell me, we will listen to you whatever we plant in our village. The village chief from the next village asked. You can grow vegetables and raise poultry, but I think it's good to raise some goats over there. There are few big trees in your village, but there is a lot of grass. Village chief, he also really cared about this good friend. Sure, I'll listen to you on this matter, but what about the purchase price? 1 code is the same. Don't worry about this, it will definitely not be lower than the market price. This power is still there. The boss can say that as long as it is not raised on feed, the price he will give will not be lower. If it works out, I'll raise goats. The village chief next door made the decision. The others were not far behind and started to quarrel one by one. Mei Shui doesn't know about these things anyway, Qian Xiang is responsible for it himself. It saved her a lot of trouble. Xiaobai, where are you? After waking up, Mei Shui felt much better. Master, I am planting vines on the mountain. Xiaobai has been really wild recently. Meixiu didn't believe it. Did you use your dog's paw to scratch it? She was speechless. After knowing where Xiaobai was, Mei Shui didn't waste any time, got up and walked to the other courtyard. This place is getting more and more lively now, and 2 more families have joined the party. They are none other than 2 friends of Mr. Sun. Mei Shui didn't have much contact with these 2 people, but it could be seen that they were a little worried about them. She doesn't like people like this very much. Grandpa Sun, why are you here? Walking up from the creek, Mei Shui met Mr. Sun and his 2 friends. Xiaoxiu is here. Has Xiao started school? Mr. Sun asked happily when he saw Xiaoxiu. The other 2 old men were still acting up and did not come forward to say hello to Mei Shui. People with Mei Shui's temperament would not take the initiative to say hello to others. Well, school started yesterday. She also came back yesterday, and today she was blocked at home by the village chief. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 308. Chapter 308, Change. It's not easy to study alone at a young age, Mr. Sun praised sincerely. Meixiu shook her head. It's not as good as you said. It's just that the boy is used to being independent. They also owed him. Haha, it's a blessing for him to come to your house. Mr. Sun smiled in his heart. By the way, are you here for anything? Let me take a look at the vines to see how they are doing. Mei Shui pointed to the mountain. Grandpa Sun, are you going to go up the mountain? Mei Shui glanced at the 3 of them. It's better not to climb too high, it's not good for your health. Meixiu did not sell pills to the people who came later, so it would be troublesome if something happened. She felt that it would be better not to let anyone come in the future. Even if someone comes, whoever accepts it is responsible. Mr. Sun understood Mei Shui's eyes and said, no, let's just walk around here. They want to go fishing. He waved the pole in his hand twice. Oh, that's it? If you're busy, I'll go up the mountain first. Mei Shui didn't delay. Go ahead and get busy. When Mei Shui walked away, the two old men began to talk. No manners, rural people are rural people, there are no rules at all. Mr. Sun felt angry and turned to look at the two of them. But I didn't say much. After that, Mei Shui never saw these two old men in the village again. Perhaps everyone has the same idea. No matter how good friends they are, they have not invited them again. Mei Shui saw all these things and was very satisfied with them. However, as the village becomes more and more developed, one thing has to be mentioned. About half a month later, the vines on the mountain were finally planted. Mei Shui found Mr. Hua and said, "Grandpa Hua, stop the fruit trees for a while. The weather is getting colder and these trees won't survive. Let's plant them again next year." I don't know why Mr. Hua is so excited. He is planting trees in the snow every day. It works. Mr. Hua smiled, but Xiaoxiu, let me tell you, the Chinese Academy of Sciences has developed a new tree species. Do you want to try it? Speaking of this, Mr. Hua was very excited. Mei Shui quickly shook her head. No, old man, please let me rest first. She really didn't want to plant any more. I didn't let you plant it, so why are you tired? The old man was unhappy. I'm telling you, the trees this time are good things. If you don't believe it, try planting half of them. No matter what the old man said, Mei Shui would not agree to it. Because of this, the old man was angry for several days. However, qi is good for the body, so Mei Shui didn't care about him. She finally stopped and she could have a good rest. However, before she could rest, the village chief came again. When she saw the village chief coming, Mei Shui wanted to run, but unfortunately, she was blocked by the village chief. "Xiaoxiu, why did you run away when uncle came over?" The village chief was also narrow-minded, which made Mei Shui grimace. "Uncle village chief, what's the matter with you? Didn't you agree with Jianxiang about the last matter? What are you doing here to find yourself?" "Xiaoxiu, it's not like the conditions in the village have improved. I want to repair the road into the village. Look. Mei Shui understands. I want money, no problem. I just ask you not to run to my house all the time. It's really a headache." "That's not possible. If our village didn't have you, would it still be Hejia village?" He didn't care whether others remembered it or not. Anyway, he knew that Hejia village wouldn't be as beautiful as it is now if it weren't for Xiaoxiu. Meixiu was afraid of him. "Uncle, just tell me, how much does it cost? Building roads is a good thing. What do you think about 50 for each person?" The village chief planned to go to the county again to ask for money. Meixiu didn't believe it when she heard it. "Uncle, stop making trouble and tell me how much it will cost." She didn't have any objections to repairing bridges and paving roads, and she didn't need the money anyway. Seeing her expression, the village chief knew that she had misunderstood. "You, what are you thinking about? This road is not for you to pay alone, everyone pays together, and it is not easy for anyone to earn money, so you can't be used to it." The village chief's words can be considered as heartbreaking for Mei Shui. After hearing this, Mei Shui took a serious look at the village chief. Unexpectedly, he was a good person. "Then I'll do what you said, uncle. If it's not enough, you can tell me when the time comes and I'll go to the money boss and ask him to donate a little." The village chief is right. Her family's money is not picked up, and the villagers cannot always be spoiled. Fortunately, Grandma he is not here, otherwise, she would have had a good drink with the village chief. This is what I think. Everyone in the village contributes 50 yuan, or 20 yuan. If it is not enough, I will go to the county to approve some. However, my hope is not too great. Hejia village is already well known as a wealthy village, and even if it is approved, it will not be able to get many approvals. No, I just wanted to tell you about Boss GN and the others, and you started talking. He mainly wanted Xiaoxiu to tell Boss GN and the others to donate some money. There are also Boss Me, Boss Gu, etc., which can be regarded as reducing some pressure on the villagers. Meixiu didn't know that the village chief had everyone's intentions, but even if she knew, she would pretend she didn't know. Okay, leave this to me, Mei Shui affirmed. But village chief, when will the telephone be installed in the village? People want to install a telephone. Mei Shui thought it would be more convenient to install a telephone at home. It's a small matter, I've left it to my uncle. I just happened to ask who else in the village needed to install it, so we installed it together. This is also a good thing. Mei Shui was happy. The relationship is good, let's do this. There are 7 in total at my house, 5 in the back mountain, 2 here in the front, 1 at my house, and 1 at Grandpa Mu's house. As you know, Grandpa Mu, now it's not convenient to have a phone number to treat people in the village. You can have this. The village chief laughed. I'll ask Genkai and Gensi about it later. I think they'll have to pretend to. It's not even short of this amount of money. That's a good feeling. Mei Shui saved the trouble. Then uncle will leave first. He came here to talk to Xiaoxiu about road construction. By the way, uncle, you are going to build a road, so how are you going to take the vegetables away? This is a troublesome thing. It's okay, my uncle has already thought about it. There are several tractors in the village. We can just connect them when the time comes. If you can achieve the position of village chief, your brains are not bad. After the village chief left, Mei Shui went to the back mountain. She had to talk to the old men about installing a phone. The life in the village is getting better day by day. Qian Xiang's business is getting better and better day by day because of He Jiakan's food. Dad, you want to set up a company. No matter how good the hotel is, it is just a store, but a company is different. Zhao Aijun heard the news after receiving a call from his son. Have you thought about it? A hotel is different from a company, and the difference is not the slightest. Yes, I've thought about it. He had already thought about it, and it happened that the country also provided some compensation. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 309. Chapter 309, Brothers are suffering together. What else could Zhao Aijun say? If you open a company, your brother's name cannot appear. You will have to take care of other things yourself. However, I hope you can come up with something for Xiaoxiu. No matter which way you look at it, the Zhao family has made a profit. Qian Xiang understood. I know, I plan to give 15% of the dividend to Mei Shui. He had already discussed this with his wife. In the future, whether it is vegetables or meat, there will be markets, but the taste is really not comparable to that in He Jiakan. Even if he took the things to check, the nutritional content inside was not even the slightest difference. But 10 times or dozens of times. This is also the reason why he eats so much vegetables and meat in He Jiakan. The closer you go to the surrounding villages, the taste is stronger than the ones outside, but the nutritional content inside is more than 10 times worse. In the end, he felt that it might be the water and land in He Jiakan that produced such good nutrition. It's not too much to say 15, but it's not too much. This is your own business, so you can make the decision yourself. Zhao Aijun believed that he could do better than himself. Then it's settled, I'll go register tomorrow. Qian Xiang was a little excited. Good. After getting his father's approval, Qian Xiang moved quickly. With the support of the state, Zhao's company quickly established a foothold in Mingcheng. Maybe it's because Mingcheng is the head office. Mingcheng officials have given them great conveniences. Of course, Qian Xiang himself comes from the Zhao family, and he is very fond of the country's conditions. Mingcheng gave him the green light, and of course he had to contribute to Mingcheng's progress. It is not only Intercontinental Hotels that has such thoughts, but also many industries have also taken action. Hians also saw business opportunities in this, so he recruited his two brothers and began to negotiate. The three of them hit it off and registered a transportation company, named Yuan Hang Transportation Company. Because the three people contributed different amounts of money, Hians held 55% of the shares. Xiangyang had the least, only 20%, but he still felt that he got more. The same goes for Xiaolai. He also felt that he had taken too much. Looking at the 25% in his hand, he was excited and guilty. Ans, this division is unreasonable. He and Xiangyang looked at each other, expressing their uneasiness. Who is he? Ans? It is true that he likes money, but he also has his own plans. Brother Xiao, Xiangyang, I won't lie to you, it's not easy for the three of us to get to this point. You also know that the main reason I earn money is to provide better conditions for my family. Speaking of this, Hians felt guilty. They understood what he meant, but there was nothing they could do. Ans's wife was so capable, and he was shocked. Hians shook his head and shook the thoughts away. In the past few years, I have spent all my time on business, but I haven't earned as much as my wife. I thought, if I could, I would be able to do business in the future. Please worry about it more. Yes, he is determined to return to his family. We know. Xiangyang and Xiaolai smiled bitterly and shook their heads. They understood what he meant, and because they understood him so well, they also felt guilty towards their families. But, Ans, are you sure you want to leave now? You know, the economy is developing very rapidly. If you miss an opportunity, it will take decades to turn around. Xiaolai laughed teasingly. Let's not talk about how much your wife can earn, but we all know that she will definitely earn more than us. But after you return, won't your siblings stop earning money? They all saw that Hians wanted to get out, but what if they could do what he wanted? As brothers, we suffer together. Hians was speechless. He really wanted to go home and spend more time with his family. Besides, Xiaopeng and the others will be going to school in a few years. You can't let them continue to go to school in the village. Xiangyang revealed the He family's escape plan. Hians sighed, forget it, let's talk about it. Let's celebrate tonight. He couldn't convince them. He should just earn money and bring his wife and grandma to him in 2 years, and then the family will be reunited. They both breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Hian softening his tone. Yes, it's a big day and we have to celebrate it. Let's go to Mr. Jian's store today to celebrate it. Jianxiang's hotel is very famous in Mingcheng. Many wealthy people will travel thousands of miles to have a taste of its delicious food. Yes, I'll treat you. Hians was also infected by the joy of the two of them. Besides, today is really a happy day, but it's a pity that she is missing from his side. Compared to Mingcheng, Anwen and others in Kyoto also ushered in the highlight moment of their own winery. Brother Anwen, how long will it take? And Cheng and An Liang both took leave from school. Today is the day of Kai Feng. How can we miss them? Wait a little longer, Uncle Drunkard hasn't come yet. They calculated every minute and second accurately. Anwen was also very excited. It would be great if my sister-in-law is here. And Liang's heart beat like a bell, the sound was alarming. And Cheng agreed with his face, that's right, if my sister-in-law was here, we would definitely not be so nervous. This is the first batch of medicinal wine brewed in Kyoto, let alone the effect. If something goes wrong with a load of wine, then most of the hard work over the past 6 months will really be in vain. Those who sold wine before were also suspicious of them. In the future, even if the wine is ready, the price will be much lower. That's why Anwen and the others were anxious, worried, and nervous. Shut up, if my sister-in-law wants to come, will she still need us? Anwen said anxiously to the two of them. Anshan has been running around in circles. For him, whether they can succeed today is the key to their success in Kyoto. Hearing Brother Anwen's voice, the two of them immediately calmed down. After a while, Uncle Drunkard ran out of the cellar. It's done, we succeeded. Uncle Drunken Guy saw someone waiting outside and immediately shouted loudly. No matter who it was, everyone cheered when they heard this. We succeeded, we succeeded. And Wen and the four of them also hugged each other. Wow, we succeeded, and we didn't embarrass my sister-in-law. And Wen immediately burst into tears. Okay, don't cry. This is a good thing. Why cry? Anshan was much calmer than before. And Wen looked at them with a smile. Let's go straight to have a look and taste the wine we brewed ourselves. In the past, when I was in town and I was unsure about something, I would go back and ask my sister-in-law. This was the first time they independently brewed the medicinal wine. Well, I want to drink enough today. And Liang's eyes were red with excitement. Anshan shook his head. That's not possible, these wines have been reserved. You can't drink too much if you want to. If there is no goods to sell and you delay my sister-in-law's ability to make money, you will be finished. Okay, he was also excited, but in his heart, his sister-in-law came first. Hearing Anshan's words, Wen also laughed. That's right, my sister-in-law has paid for her old capital this time. We can't let her lose money on her first business. When the time comes, you should be careful with the third grandma when she goes back of sticks. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 310. Chapter 310, Unsealing the Wine. They miss them very much after being away from home for so long. I especially miss the stick in the third grandma's hand. We will all go back during the Chinese New Year this year to give good news to my sister-in-law and family, and Liang had already planned it. There are still several months before the Chinese New Year. During these months, they must be successful. In fact, everyone has similar ideas and wants to contribute to this matter. The four of them followed Uncle Drunkard through the brewing cellar. It smells so good, a strong aroma of wine penetrated their noses. The wine is more fragrant than the previous wine, and Liang is a wine lover and secretly drinks a lot when he is at home. Uncle Drunkard turned to look at them and smiled. The wine this time is very good, top quality, better than what we brew in town. He has been making wine for so many years, and this is the first time he has made such a beautiful wine. How effective the medicine is, you still have to give it a try. Their main focus is medicinal wine. If it is the medicinal effect of that wine, so drink it. Yes, the aroma of this wine is stronger than the wine we brewed before, but don't think about it. The medicinal materials in our medicinal wine are older this time, so the cost will increase a lot. And Wen was a little worried. Regret it? At that time, the age of the medicinal materials should not have been mentioned. And Liang didn't think there was anything to regret about this. Brother and Wen, didn't those old men say last time that they should be the first to taste good things? What do you think? Let's have a cocktail party tonight. A wine party is to invite a group of people to taste wine. The old men used to mention it a lot, but the conditions did not allow it, so they have never done it. After hearing this, Wen's eyes lit up. This can happen, Anshan. You can invite the old men to each house later. We have decided to stay at the Kyoto Hotel. If you are happy today, we will treat the old men to dinner. Wen's aura has also changed a lot among the four. He is obviously the leader. Okay, brother Wen, I'll be there in a minute. Of course, Anshan had no objection. When he came to Kyoto, his sister-in-law told him that if he didn't understand something, he should listen to everyone's opinions, and if he had any problems, he should go to brother Wen. He has always kept these words in mind. Go now, don't even look at what time it is. When you go later, the old men will have dinner at their homes. And Wen knew what he was thinking. Don't worry, if you don't come, we won't drink this wine either. And Wen resisted the temptation of wine. Seriously, Anshan said, let's do this. I'll go with An Liang. An Liang is 1 year older than Anshan, but they both call each other by their first names. And Liang was speechless. No, I believe you can do a good job. He didn't want to go. And Cheng had long hidden himself behind Uncle Drunkard. He didn't want to be noticed. Uncle Drunkard was very happy when he saw them like this. He also knew what An Cheng was thinking, so he didn't tell him anything and even took the initiative to stop him. Well, let's leave this place to Uncle Drunkard, and the four of us will go invite people together. An Cheng will follow me, and An Shan and An Liang will get to know each other. An Wen was the leader after all, so he made arrangements directly. An Liang and others also know that while my sister-in-law is away in Kyoto, brother An Wen is in charge, and everyone is very obedient. Sure, listen to brother An Wen, they all know where the old man lives. After leaving the winery, the four of them split into two groups and went directly to do business. An Wen and An Cheng first came to the home of an old man who was good friends with Mr. Yushi. It took some effort to get in. Old man, the wine in the winery has been opened today, please come tonight. This is not the first time An Wen has been in this kind of compound, but every time he comes, his whole body becomes very tense. This old man also looks very kind, but even so, his aura cannot be ignored. Okay, the wine in the house has run out. If you don't make it again, I will have to find you. Those who can be friends with Mr. Shi must have a temperament not much different from his. Hearing the old man's promise, An Wen breathed a sigh of relief. It's our fault for keeping you waiting for so long. An Wen was very respectful. An Cheng didn't speak during the whole process, he just watched brother An Wen act and learned from him. Stop using these polite words. If the wine is not good, I won't give face to the old man, not even old man Shi obviously. For him, wine is more important than good friends. An Wen smiled, of course, please trust us, sir. The first family went well, and the second family went equally well, but not only did they invite the old man, but also several family members who were worried about the old man. Of course An Wen has no objection to this. The more people, the better. If you are not afraid that they will come, you are afraid that they will not come. Wine is medicinal wine. No matter how much or how little you drink, it does not harm your body. The situation is the same here in Anshan. He not only invited old men, but also some people who had never been exposed to their medicinal wine. Some of it is for the sake of face, and some of it is because of genuine feelings. No matter what, the mission has been completed here in Anshan. After leaving these people's homes, An Liang took a deep breath and said, "Ha, these people are a bit scary, maybe they are all in high positions." Anshan smiled and shook his head, "It's normal, regardless of their identity. At the beginning, we, brother An Wen, didn't dare to talk to them." Anshan smiled sincerely when he thought of the first time he came into contact with these people. He patted An Liang on the shoulder and said, "Just get used to it in the future. Some people are easy to deal with. As long as your stuff is good, they won't have a bad temper." Of course, An Liang understood. "Well, I will work hard." "Anshan, do you regret giving up your studies?" Kyoto stood still, but after all, Anshan also had the hope of being admitted to university. Anshan looked into the distance. "I don't regret it." He really didn't regret it. As my sister-in-law said, everyone has his own destiny, and his destiny is Kyoto. Well, as long as you don't regret it, let's go back. Don't let brother An Wen get the first step. When the four brothers met again, they all had bright smiles on their faces. "It seems like there are good results," An Wen said happily. "Of course," An Liang said proudly, "you don't even know who we are. This man can't change his stinky temper no matter where he goes, so he can work hard. Okay, don't worry, let's go to the hotel to make arrangements. There are so many people, and it can't be arranged with 1 or 2 tables." An Wen looked at the time, and there was not much time left for them. Good. The four of them set off and arrived at the Kyoto hotel. Calculating the number of people, we directly booked a large private room on the second floor. There can be about 5 tables inside. The people they invited were almost big enough to sit down. Everything is ready, then go back and get the wine. The 4 of them were worried and went back together, asking Uncle Drunkard to get a large vat of wine. There were 3 types of wine brewed this time. Someone said they want to see the process. Come and add the author's personal number, 312842711. Password, 110. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 311. Chapter 311, Wine Sales. However, they plan to focus on promoting this kind of health wine, and also bring samples of the other 2 types, which contain no more than 5 kilograms at most. If 1 cup per person counts, each person will only get a small cup. Brother Anwen, why don't you bring these fruit wine? En Liang asked, looking at the fruit wine he had put so much effort into making. Anwen glanced at En Liang and said, there are no women or children here this time, so what's the use of taking them? Those old men are all people who love wine. Some of them were not allowed to drink alcohol due to poor health, and finally began to drink medicinal wine brewed by them after being introduced by several old men in the village. It is obviously not appropriate to take fruit wine now. En Liang understood it as soon as he heard it, but felt a little sad in his heart. The fruit is so delicious, not intoxicating, and not harmful to the body. My sister-in-law also added a lot of medicinal materials into it. En Liang, this is a strange person who doesn't know what he's doing. Don't be in a hurry, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future, and Wen was not in a hurry. The 4 of them rushed to the restaurant with a large vat of health wine and 10 kilograms of other medicinal wine. When we arrived, 2 old men had already arrived. I'm sorry, gentlemen, we just went to get some wine, and Wen regretted a little. If he had known better, he would have asked Anshan to stay and guard him. Still doing things poorly. The 2 old men only care about wine, so they don't care about such a trivial matter. Stop doing this, bring the wine to the old man and let him smell it. They both pay attention to their health. I don't know how to touch the wine glass before eating. Hey, I'll be here soon. Anshan responded, immediately turned around and walked out. I plan to bring a pot over myself first. While waiting for Anshan, several more people came. Among them are old men and friends they brought with them. En Liang's role came into play at this time. Not to mention, he was really familiar with communication. Soon, Anshan's wine was brought over, and those wine lovers were not greedy on the Siang Road. Coming, I can smell it. The one who spoke was Mr. Zhang, who was the one who had the best relationship with Mr. Shi. This taste is no worse than last year's, on the contrary, it's more fragrant. Mr. Zhang took a deep breath and looked intoxicated. And Wen smiled and gestured to Anshan with his eyes, asking him to help him. Old man, you are an old man, come and give me a try. The relationship is good, old man, I won't be polite. Mr. Zhang is easy to get along with. Some people saw the wine coming, and they all ran over. Xiao He, you are being unreasonable, we are here too. Maybe it's because of Mr. Jiang's status that some people find it difficult to confront Mr. Jiang, and instead come to put pressure on Anwen. Anwen had already thought of this. As soon as the wine came, he asked the restaurant to help him divide the pots. I'm going to invite you all to have a wine tasting today. I'm afraid you won't be able to drink enough wine. We have them all, don't worry, old man. With a wave of their hands, the 4 of them began to pour wine for these people. The meals were also served one after another. As soon as the dishes were served, almost all the people came. Wine, basically everyone has had a drink. The taste in it is not comparable to what they usually drink. This wine is good. I feel warm in my stomach after drinking it. No, I was still thinking about eating some food first to warm my stomach, but I didn't think so. I couldn't resist the temptation. After 1 cup, my stomach won't feel uncomfortable. Forget about my stomach, my dizziness has disappeared and I feel very energetic. Don't you know? Their wine is mainly medicinal wine, and its function is to nourish the body. How can it be bad? Some people who knew the details echoed from the side. Hey, there is another saying, this is my first time contacting you, please give me an explanation. Some middle-aged people were very interested and asked. Haha, it's easy to talk. Just let me have a few drinks. Later they were all at the same table. There is also a saying about this wine. At first, this wine was only passed on to those people above. Later, it worked well, and those people also started to join forces and introduced several of their friends to drink it. This drink was incredible, and it was directly past the wine. The wine produced in a year is not enough for them to share. Some people have tried their best, but they can't stop those people from touching it. No, this year we finally came to Kyoto, and the winery also has the help of those people. It's true love. That's what happened. Don't underestimate this wine. One glass will make your ailments much lighter. Look at me, the ailments left over from the previous war don't hurt anymore. The old man introduced it is called a vigorous effort. Just as he was speaking, En Liang heard him. He ran over happily. Old man, you are so complimentary. Come on, I will give you a full serving. You drink more. Today I brought you health wine. No matter how much you drink, it won't hurt you. However, you will not be able to drink it tomorrow. Gotta sleep late. Alcohol does not harm the body and has a repairing effect, but the alcohol is still strong. It is normal to wake up late. It is just for these people to adjust their sleep. Hey, good boy, not bad, not bad. The old man was very satisfied with En Liang's performance. I'm not afraid of going to bed, but I'm afraid of waking up and running out of wine to drink. People who have come from difficult times will always be better off. What's the matter? I'll hide a pot for you privately later, En Liang whispered in the old man's ear. He is light, but he can't hold everyone at the table close to him. This time it's good, it's just a hornet's nest. This can't be done. Why are you only thinking about old man Shang? We wanted to. Several people brought by old man Shang quit. En Liang was a little embarrassed and touched his head naively. Well, the wine we brought is not enough, he said truthfully. To put it bluntly, I still lack experience. Mr. Shang got it right, so of course he helped En Liang. Don't scare others, they are still young. You have to buy the drink yourself. It also solved En Liang's embarrassment. If they give them all away, how can they still sell their wine? That's no problem, but is there still wine? The people at the table were all knowledgeable, and they all shouted. En Liang accepted the old man's kindness and apologized for his shortcomings. Yes, don't worry, this guy is not good enough. If you want to buy it, I will give it cheaper. Thank you, young man, I want 10 pounds. Can you deliver it to my house? A middle-aged man stood up and asked. En Liang smiled and said, as long as you don't leave Kyoto, we will give it to you wherever you go. He was paying for his mistake. Haha, okay, good boy, I want 50 caddies. There is no way, there are many people in the family. In this way, En Liang did not know, and he was embarrassed. At this time, An Wen came over. It's okay. You go to the waiter and ask for a notebook and a pen, and write down the weights and addresses that everyone wants. En Wen did not disturb En Liang's friendship, but just helped him think of a way to do it. Remember to talk about the viewing process when you come here. End of this chapter.